Does anyone think that war is dumb? I mean, I understand that there are disagreements between nations, between the groups of people within the country, but since a kid and just experiencing war, I always thought that there's no really point to it. Like if you ask someone on the street, the average guy, they're gonna be against war. And that always was weird to me because a lot of countries go to war, especially as we've seen with Russia and Ukraine. We've seen civil wars in Lebanon, for example, Yemen, Syria. And one thing I always notice is that it's always one or two people that instigate the war, and it's always over something dumb. It's always over something dumb. Like, for example, ideologies, right? Christians, Muslims, let's say they're fighting. Okay, there are at circumstances where there is tyranny and where there is, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like racism. Like there are situations where you need to fight back and you need to use physical harm. But when it's over something as stupid as ideologies and another group just disagreeing with you and you're killing each other and you're killing innocent people over something so minuscule. I never understood that. Like most people are against the war. Most people don't want to fight other countries. They always see it as something that's just not feasible. Like look at the Iraq war for example when the US came in and did all that. Firstly, that was all made up. Secondly, if you remember the protests that occurred all over Europe and even in the US, everyone was against it. Every single person was against it except for who? The political party that was voted in by the people. Yet we couldn't do anything about it. It was up to them. I just find that so crazy how we sort of live in a free society, yet we can't really make these sort of decisions where it could impact the world and could impact people thousands of miles away. And also, one more thing that I just see that's extremely dumb about war is there's no winner. Like, okay, so let's say Russia overtakes Ukraine. Now what? Okay, you have. I might be very, very ignorant about these things. I really. I hope someone proves me wrong. But why? What's the benefit? What? You proved to take over another country, you killed the leader. Now what? Your men are depleted. Your economy is shit. Your currency is down the drain. No one will make trades with you. Most people in your country are living under the poverty line. Like this is where the state of Russia will be in a couple years. All because they don't want Ukraine joining NATO or they disagree with a religious ideology like we see in the Middle East time and time again. I don't think there's a benefit to it. It's always made by just a small group of people who believe in one thing, while most of the people who are actually going to have to put their lives at risk by going to war for the country that they disagree with. And I just think it's so dumb and it's such a innate nature in us to want to fight and disagree with other people that it's sad. It's really sad. And every time I see people going to war over these ideologies, over just simple disagreements that we could kind of settle in a civil way, it's just dumb. And I know there's sort of instigates like bombings and bombing political leaders where there are issues, but why is that happening in the first place? Right? Why is the Muslim going in to bomb the church? Why is the Christian attacking Muslims? Why is that happening in the first place? Yeah, I just had to get that out of my chest. But I really just there's no point to it. I really just hope that there's a certain point where we realize that there's no point to this. Let's try to settle our differences in a civil way, and it's probably impossible. Probably is, especially in places where people are growing up in a way where war and tribal warfare is the way of living. But yeah, guys, that's it. I just wanted to get that out because I just think it's dumb. I think there's no point to it, and Maybe I'm an ignorant Lebanese Canadian, but yeah.